Hello guys, here João Delgado from ASM. I'm right now at Nova Southeastern with Coach Watts from England. We're gonna have a little chat, very casual conversation. I'm gonna introduce him a bit. He's gonna explain his process, his journey so far in the United States, and I hope you enjoy. Coach, thank you very much for this opportunity. If you could start and explain a bit, how did you end up in the United States? Because that's the purpose of all the international students here.
Yeah, I think probably pretty similar to a lot of people, like yourselves who have come over. I played at a really good club back in England in the Championship at the time, and they were promoted to the Premier League. And at that point in time, I wasn't kept on in my contract, and I wasn't deemed a Premier League player. And it was an opportunity for me to, at that time, think about what was next step in my life. And the next step for me was gaining an education. And coming out to America. I've always enjoyed traveling, so it was an opportunity I felt to come over here and to experience something a little bit different, and to continue to play, at a good level. So I'm very lucky with the teams that I've been able to play with, and some championship teams that I've been able to play with, and that was really just my opportunity to come across here, and I've never looked back and haven't gone back since.
How did that pop up in your life? You already explained there was a goal, but how did that opportunity pop up? Was a friend? How did it work?
Yeah, so very lucky really. After I got released, I went and played with a men's league team at a good level in England, and was making a little bit of money just to cover some expenses and stuff like that. And two of the guys that were on the team had just graduated from America, and they were on the team as well. And they asked me, "Hey Matt, we're going back for an alumni weekend. You'd be great in this team. Hey, come over." And so I said, okay, no problem. So I went across, and I was there for a week. Probably wasn't legal, but I was there for a week, had the best week of my life. Played football with the guys every day, kind of got immersed in the academic side of things as well, and just came back to England at that point and just said, right, this is what I want to do. And like I say, that was the best team I was on, because it gave me the opportunity to move to another country and to play.
So where did you move from England? Where in the US? When was that?
I moved from London, grew up in London, and then I moved to upstate New York. And ever since then, I've traveled all over America. I've lived in Alabama, Florida, New York, Mississippi.
Mississippi?
Yeah, Mississippi.
Deep
South. People are amazing.
True.
Food's fried everywhere you go. But it's, everywhere I've been, I've just enjoyed different cultures, different people, and get to know different people, and all of it has been great experiences to obviously get where I am now, and I feel very lucky to be here.
But it's not like New York City.
No, this was a small town,
exactly.
Upstate New York, but honestly, one of the best, 18 months of my life. Very small, so everyone there was on campus, and we just lived together. It was great. It was like a band of brothers, and we just, had a great time and continued to play.
No, that's interesting because, as international, people know New York, Miami, LA, and that's it. Sometimes I'm not North Carolina or Philadelphia, and people don't understand that as international, when you go to a smaller place, it's even a bit more comfort. People will take care of you.
There's a community there.
So if you could, how did that help you in your experience in the beginning?
Just think the boys were very welcoming. I think whenever you come across and you're on a team, you automatically gain, 30 mates, right? Or if you're on a tennis team, you gain 8 friends, straight away. You already have something in common. So, for me, it was quite easy. I went across, we played the international game that we all love, football, and it was some of the best mates that I still keep in contact now with, and that was 16, 17 years ago. So, for me, it was very easy to make that change. But yes, there's some phenomenal places out here in the US that, it all depends on the person, right? Some people like the big city, some people like the beach, some people like the mountains. It all depends on that one person.
And you still can. You just mentioned really quick, one very important part. You still keep in touch with people that you met years ago.
Yeah.
How is that for your life? Of course, hopefully the rest of your life. How did that help you in okay, this is really what I want to do. I'm very happy with this experience.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things, and like if my girlfriend and I, we love to travel as well, and so you know every chance we get, we're able to travel. And one of the coolest things I think is like every city that we go to in the US, I probably know someone. So I'll be like, hey, this person could hook us up with this, or we can talk. And it's great to keep those relationships and just see how people choose to lead their lives. You know, people with kids now, with families, people that have gone to England and to Europe to work. And they've needed, people like me. So it's just great to have that network and that close community of people that you share such a close bond with, and also, with football as well. So it really is something that's very unique.
Now, one thing, for example, that impressed me the most in your journey is because you're still very young, especially for a coach. It's true. In a position of one of the best D2 programs in the nation, having such a young coach. How did you have so many experience already with such a young age so far?
Again, I've been really, really lucky, and I think a lot of this is luck. But also, of course, it comes down to hard work and some, putting yourself in the right positions. But I became a graduate assistant at the University of West Florida, and we were really successful. I was only there, again, 18 months, but we managed to win 2 conference championships within that time. And one of the other teams who were bottom of the league for a long, long time, offered me the head coaching position. At the time, I was only 23 years old. And again, they weren't doing particularly well, but over the next 2 years, we ended up getting to the final of the conference championship, and I ended up getting getting a new opportunity at another place at 25 years old. And then I was there for another 3 years, turned that program around quite quickly within those 3 years. And that's what's led me, to Nova. Yeah, so I was 30 when I took over the job here, and still probably felt like I could probably still be playing a little bit.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. Definitely feel a little bit older. My legs are tired.
I saw you in the run.
Running. Running, but not. Striking the ball is not there anymore. I'm going to pull some muscles, but no. The journey to get here has been fantastic. But of course, I feel very fortunate to be here in one of the best Division 2 programs in the country, leading this team, and I feel like this is a program that we could win a national championship here, and that's ultimately my goal as a like you said, as a young coach, and we go from there.
You talk about luck, definitely something very important, but you also took the chance. Did you, every time you took a chance for a new job, did you look back when you were younger and okay, if I never took the chance to come to the US, this will never happen? How do you look at that?
I apologise about the baseball coach. No, it's my dad always just said to me, he had a phrase called "suck it and see." So basically, like, give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, then you can always go back. And I think that was the case. And did I picture myself living in the middle of Mississippi, in the middle of nowhere with no one around, as a young single guy leading a program that was bottom of the league for many, many years? No, but I knew that I believed in what I do as a coach and what I can do, and that I could change these young men lives, and we could get to a position where we could challenge for a conference championship. And like I say, we managed to do that within 2 years. And so without going to Mississippi, I wouldn't have been able to move to Alabama, and I wouldn't have been able to go from Alabama to South Florida. So yes, of course, all these things and I've learned so much from each place that I've been to, and I've been so fortunate to have worked at these awesome institutions that gave me the opportunity. I was 23 years old, and I had no head coaching experience, and the AD at the time said, "This is my guy," and I didn't want to let him down, and I want to keep that going wherever I've been. So I think that's the biggest thing is, I've yes, of course, luck, fortunate to be here, but there's been a lot of hard work and some risk that I've taken along the way.
And that's the word risk. For example, my process, I also went to West Virginia, a 600 student school. I had no clue where I was going. I don't even spoke English. Now it's a bit better, as you can see.
Yeah, my English is amazing. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, man. But in the end, in the beginning, it was like not good at all. But if I never took this chance, I would never be here right now talking with you. You know, and it's a very good experience.
Yeah.
And this is leading to nowadays. Again, it's very important for the kids to be informed. I'm not saying you guys do the research, but you have so much information that people lose themselves on trying to pick the right fit. And I always tell them, you're never gonna know if it's the right fit until you take it. So sometimes it's just hard for me to explain, okay, just take this chance, go for it. If it doesn't work, we'll find you another way. But how do you, of course you have an advantage to explain the kids that you're in Fort Lauderdale. But for example, when you were in Mississippi or you were in other areas besides Florida, how did you explain the kids to take this opportunity? It must be challenging, no?
Yes, it is and it isn't, right? Because what your experience is what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Mississippi and you go to Alabama and you go in with a poor attitude, or you're like, oh well, this is not what I'm looking at. It's a portion of your life. The people that I was surrounded by in Alabama, in Mississippi, wherever I went to school, upstate New York, it was the people that I got on with so well, and my experience was no better at Lynn University in Boca Raton than it was in Alabama. I wanted to win games, and we won, and you know, that was the big thing for me. Football was the massive thing. I wanted to win games. I wanted to go to successful programs, and I've been lucky enough to do that and to play with such great teams. But the people I was surrounded by gave me such an awesome experience. We had such fun. No matter what we did, we could have just been hanging out at the bonfire, you know, the day before a game or whatever, just having a chat. That life is different to the life that my lads lead here. You know, it's very different. So it's all about what you make of it, and there is the right place out there for every single person. And I think the worst part is that, you know, people get fixated on these major cities that they want to go, and there's a lot of America that's incredibly beautiful and amazing to live in, and amazing experiences. And I would just encourage people to go ahead and explore that.
You told me about, I don't know if you realize, but we were talking about with a Nova coach, but you mentioned that you went to Lynn. How does that work in your life right now? How did it happen?
It's a long time ago, obviously, probably about, I can't even remember now, maybe 14 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, Nova and Lynn is a big rivalry now. We're half an hour away. And, you know, Lynn's obviously been at the top of the, you know, and I walked into that program, and it just like, as soon as you walked in there, you just were like, we need to win here. Like anything other than a national championship is a disappointing year. And that culture shaped me as a coach, right? Because that's what I want to bring here. I want people to walk in and go, wow, they have high standards. They have expectations of winning conference championships, of winning national championships. And I think that's like the biggest thing that Lynn taught me more than anything else is, you know, is winning. But no, it's great when I go back, because obviously I get to see the campus, and it's changed a lot since I've been there. And it's a great rivalry, right? I love playing the best teams in the country, and Lynn is certainly one of them, if not the best, over the last 10 years. And it's been fantastic to compete against them. That's why I wanted to come to this conference, because I wanted to compete against the best teams in the country, and I wanted to make Nova one of the best teams in the country.
So you mentioned also like that coach shaped the way you're coaching now. And I was fortunate enough to play against one of your teams, especially last year. You told me it was a bit of a struggle. I still think it was one of the best teams that I played so far in terms of soccer. Where did you start like thinking about, okay, this is the style I want to implement, this is the mentality, this is the culture? This of course was from your experience, but it's also for the players you have on the field. It's just that idea that you want to implement. How does that work?
Yeah, I think I have an ideal situation of how I would like to play. I definitely have that, but I think the biggest thing that you said there is probably culture. Like I do want my boys to understand that when they leave Nova, they're going to, you know, whatever they do, get a job or, you know, play professionally, whatever it is, I want them to take kind of the core values that we kind of try and instill in them here and take it into their life later. Maybe just a couple, maybe it's one thing that they take from here that they've learned over their last 4 years. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I never want, you know, any of the coaches that I compete against or any of the teams to say after we played them, like, that team didn't fight, that team didn't work hard together, that they weren't, you know, that it wasn't a tough game that we played against them. You know, obviously that's what I want out of my guys. I'm a very blue collar guy, come from a very middle class family, had to work to get where I am today, and so I think that goes a long, long way. And so I think, you know, when you take those concepts and you take those key pillars, as you were, or parts of your culture into the rest of your life, I think it can take you a long way. So ultimately, that's what I want for my boys. I want that.
For example, on the field, everyone is talking. Everyone has a different opinion. So for you, is more important to implement your idea and recruit the players for their idea, or you adapt the style you play accordingly to the players your idea?
I think it's so tough. I think if you're an ideal situation, I think you would go after a player that fit your mould already. That's would be my ideal situation. I think if you're working at the best clubs in the world, that's what you're doing. I think you're finding a guy that really tries to fit what you're looking for. I think it's a little bit harder over here because you may come across a player that is really, really good, and you're like, he's not quite what I'm looking for. But I think you have to be a little bit more tactile in those situations and say, right, I can maybe change a couple of things to help this player adapt and look better in our system and of how we're going to play it. So I think my philosophy in terms of college is we try and get the most talented players that I also have a good feeling with in terms of personality and character and all that sort of stuff, because that is important. I do spend a lot of time talking to those guys, and then when they get here, work in like, okay, this is how we're going to play. Generally speaking, though, we have the same type of football that we try and play, just might be in different formations.
You again, like we're talking about, every coach wants the best players from the best teams and academies in the world. You were in a very good team, especially around the Premier League. When you came to the US, this is an important thing because the professional world is getting closer and closer to college in terms of the academies and the type of player. For example, when a kid don't sign a professional contract, okay, sometimes they get frustrated. It's a disappointment for everyone. But as a college coach, as a former player that you experienced it, what's your advice, for example, for those kids regarding the opportunity in the United States?
I think the worst thing I did when I first came across here was underestimate the level and kind of like the players that I was going to be playing with. And I kind of came across thinking, listen, I played at one of the best teams, in England at the time, from a really good academy. I was like, I'm gonna smash this. This is going to be easy for me. It's going to be like a walk in the park. The game is going to be so slow in comparison to playing with some of these other guys that I was playing with at the time. And so in that regard, I kind of let my guard down, and I wasn't as good as I should have been in my first year, and I didn't do a great job. But after that year, it got a lot better, and I was able to go, okay, I can now I need to raise my game a little bit and do that. But this is really a second chance, right? Coming out here is a second chance. You still have the opportunity to go play professionally afterwards, but along with it, you're able to play with guys that are of like mind, that have probably gone through exactly the same as you. They're here now as well. You're all going after the same thing. You're getting an education. You could play professionally afterwards, but then you have a lot more opportunities afterwards in the business world, because you now have a degree. You have an undergrad degree, a master's degree, whatever it is. So it's a second chance, and I think it's a fantastic second chance, and not one that you can do anywhere else in the world.
No, it's true. And you mentioned also again that you also take care of educating and helping the kids to what is going to happen after Nova, what they're going to be doing, and like what's the next step. How do you implement those ideas? How do you educate? What's your main focus to educate those kids to be successful after they graduate and finish their career in college?
We try and keep, again, same sort of things. So like just professional mannerisms, really, like being on time and being respectful in how we communicate to each other, and organisation, those sort of things that are going to carry on through the year. Because I think a lot of it, when kids come over here at 18, certainly older guys, maybe they're a little bit more put together at that point in time, but certainly the 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds that come across, they haven't lived on their own before, and so there's that little bit of time where it takes them to be like, man, I'm on my own. Coach is expecting these things, and we hold them to those standards, and other guys on the team hold them to those standards. We have a leadership group, like a leadership academy that meet every 2-3 weeks, and we discuss those sort of things, and we hope to obviously build those leaders so that they can then lead in whatever they're going to do afterwards. And so again, it just continues with that culture. I think is the biggest thing.
So it's like a big life experience in overall.
Yeah.
So my last question would be like, what would be your major and mainly advice for the kids that are kind of now in the fence, deciding should I go to the US or should I not go to the US?
I think for me, it was the best thing that I ever did, you know, and I again, I would not be in this position if, you know, if I didn't take the risk, if I didn't say, yes, I'm going to go do it. Listen, did I want to become a professional footballer? 100%. Yeah. Did I think that I was good enough? Yeah, I did think at the time that I was good enough. But guess what? I got released for a reason. At that point in time, that coach didn't see me as a fit, and I didn't get picked up by someone else. So you have to kind of, brings you back down to earth a little bit, and you say, right, I've got to self-evaluate, I've got to be a little bit aware. Maybe I'm not on the level at this point in time. Maybe I need to go do those things. And I'm glad that I did. So it's the best thing I ever did. I do not regret ever coming out here. I'm glad I did it. And at the end of the day, you're always able after the 4 years to go back, right? You have the education. 4 years in your whole lifespan is actually a small amount of time, you know, and you can learn so much from this and from traveling around and being immersed in different cultures and all that sort of stuff and being with different people. I just think it teaches you so many life lessons. There's nothing more, there's nothing better than experiencing a life in another country, learning a different language, learning a different culture, all those sort of things. I think it can build you as a human for when you go back to whatever country you're coming from or whatever area you're coming from. I think it's an amazing experience. So for me, it's changed who I am for the better, and like I say, best thing I ever did.
So now if I go to England, I can hit you up and we can go for another.
You can go. You can
You
hit my
choose.
mum up. I'm not going to be there, but you can go live. You can go stay with my family. We'll hook it up.
There we go. Last question: Florida or Mississippi? Then. No,
I'm
no
going to say
pressure.
Florida,
There you
but listen, I can't speak badly about Mississippi because it was an incredible experience. I really have to say, and the school I was at the time, they gave me the opportunity, my first head coaching opportunity, and again, wouldn't be here without those people. And although it was short-lived, 18 months, it was an awesome 18 months. I learned so much as a head coach in that time.
That's cool. Coach, thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
opportunity.
Appreciate
Guys,
it.
with one of the most promising coaches in the nation, the United States, and one of the best in the D2 level, Coach Watts from Nova Southeastern, and we talk soon. Okay, thank you.